and gentlemen, welcome back to a long overdue episode of the Voice of the Colts podcast. I'm your host, Reef, self-anointed voice of Colts Nation. We've missed a lot of time here. I apologize for the inconsistency, guys. It's Ramadan. For those of you that don't know, Ramadan is a time for Muslims to reconnect with their spirituality, with their religion, and just kind of focus in and lock in on that while we fast from sun up to sundown. And that doesn't take me away from work and other responsibilities either. Dealing with a lot of that, balancing all of those things while being so low on energy throughout the day and trying to make it to the masjid at nights and, keep a balance of all those things. Things got away from me and I have not been as consistent as I wanted to be with this podcast, and I will attempt to bring this back up as we are entering the last 2 weeks of Ramadan. I shouldn't have that. I won't have that. I'm not going to use it as an excuse anymore. It really was just me using it as an excuse. But we're back, and a lot has happened, and we're going to go over all of that. So this is episode 15 of the Voice of the Colts podcast, and hopefully many, many more to come. Today we're going to talk about plenty of things. We're going to talk about why Colts fans need to actually calm the hell down. Like, it's time for us to woosah a little bit as we enter the beginning of the new season starting on March 11th. And we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterback options that we have to go with, as there have been some news revolving around the future of quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts fans' favorite podcaster has finally been traded. So we're going to go over all of those things that implicates. But we're going to start with why we need to calm down, right? Everyone, if you've been on social media, if you've been around Colts fans and Colts media members and stuff, it's been a hellhole for us for the last couple of days. News drops where Alec Pierce doesn't receive any kind of tag designation. No franchise tag, no transition tag. Transition tag did go to Daniel Jones, which we'll talk about later on in the episode. Right now, I'm going to start with the focus being on Alec Pierce and what that means for him and what that means for us going forward. So Alec Pierce is set to test free agency. He gets on the the Up and Adams show. I was going to say Kay Adams, right? Up and Adams show, and they spoke about what he wants from the from like this offseason, what he's looking for in a new team. And a few of the things that he mentioned, and I don't have the audio clip, I apologize, I didn't have a lot of prep done into this episode, so we're going to kind of move along in a frantic way as we usually do in the Voice of the Colts podcast. But a few of the things that he mentioned that he really wants from his future team: consistent winning culture. He wants the bag. So those two things the Colts already can't offer him, right? And he wants to have certainty in his quarterback, which I think now he's mentioned many times how he loves Daniel Jones. I think everybody in Indianapolis really loved Daniel Jones. There really wasn't a single thing that anyone in Indy had bad to say about Daniel Jones. Now, that's not saying a lot because there's not often ever a time we say bad things about our quarterbacks, aside from Anthony Richardson not going to meetings on time and whatnot, and they had talked to him about that. And there's also news on Anthony Richardson that we have not covered in previous episodes that we'll go over as well. So, but Alec Pierce, that's what he wants. He wants a stable quarterback, he wants a winning culture, and he wants a whole lot of money. And he wants the targets. That's another thing he mentioned. I believe he got 84 targets or something like that. Something around there. I want to say it was 84 targets last season. And then he caught 47 passes for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, I believe. So overall, pretty good season. The 47 catches is a very low number. And what I'm noticing from Colts fans online, and this is something I wanted to address because I see this all the time, we all love Alec Pierce. And I think it's safe to say that pretty much every one of us expects him to be a wide receiver one, wherever he goes. Whether it's staying with Indianapolis, going to New England is a possibility. The Niners, the Bills, the Raiders, the Patriots, they're all teams that are interested in possibly acquiring Alec Pierce. Now, I fully expect him to be a wide receiver one. I mean, dude is a stud. When we watched him play, like the catches he would make, the things he would do, he had the sky is the limit for this guy. But I want to remind Colts fans, I want to remind everybody for a moment that this is all potential. Yes, he had a 1,000-yard season. Yes, he looks very, very good on film, and 1,000 yards is awesome, and he has led the league 2 years in a row with yards per reception. He's he's the best deep threat in the NFL. And we, as Colts fans who watch him every week, week in and week out, we all believe that there's more to it than just a deep threat guy. We believe that. But I want you guys to remember, that's just a belief. That has not happened yet. Like, he's not the guy that takes 15 targets a game. Like, he has not been the wide receiver one yet. 1,000 yards does not make you a wide receiver one. There have been plenty of wide receiver twos that reach 1,000 yards. We know this. So, this idea that it's the worst thing in the world and Chris Ballard needs to be fired immediately, as much as you guys have been talking about that, and I do have something to say about that as well, but like the idea that this was the worst management in history because Alec Pierce is now going to test free agency and we didn't tag him. And it's like, guys, woosah, relax, take a breath. He hasn't left Indianapolis yet and probably will. Like, I'm not delusional. I'm not pretending that because he hasn't signed somewhere else yet, because he can't sign anywhere else yet, because it's not March 11th yet. But I'm not delusional in thinking like, man, there's a chance more than likely, he's leaving Indianapolis. That is probably going to happen unless we move Michael Pittman Jr. within the next couple of days, which there have been no news on trade talks for MPJ or even reconstructing his contract talks. We've heard literally nothing. Now, maybe they're keeping a tight lid on things. I don't know. There is just simply nothing out there that suggests we have done anything to address the Michael Pittman Jr. contract, which he is due up for $29 million. I believe that's fifth or sixth most in the NFL at wide receiver for his final year of his contract. It is a ridiculous number for Michael Pittman Jr., who has just not produced to the level of a top 6 wide receiver. So it's not to say that he's not a really good receiver, because we all love Michael Pittman Jr. He is a very good wide receiver. It just hasn't produced that number, so it's like hard to justify $29 million going to him when he hasn't really done what a $29 million wide receiver would do, right? But that's also to say, neither has Alec Pierce. Neither is Alec Pierce. I mean, he barely eclipsed 1,000 yards. He had 47 catches. I'm not trying to disparage Alec Pierce. I'm just saying you guys are all on board for offering the same kind of contract to Alec Pierce that we're complaining about with Michael Pittman Jr. I think Alec Pierce can be better than Michael Pittman Jr. Probably, maybe in some ways he already is, but he has not solidified himself in this sphere that we're trying to put him in. Now, while I agree, I think he will get there. I think he's a phenomenal talent. It's still just a belief. So it's okay if we lose out on him, especially because that position, that particular position, seems to grow on trees nowadays. I mean, you look around the league and everybody on earth has at least one elite wide receiver and maybe two, some even maybe three, right? Like some teams have actually 3 wide receivers. You consider like, oh my God, these guys are elite. So it's not the end of the world if we lose Alec Pierce like you guys say. And I know everyone keeps yelling, and I see this all the time because of this situation, like this is why Chris Ballard has to go. One thing I want to just get out of the way before I continue with any other topics for this podcast, before I continue with anything else. Can it, guys? Enough. Chris Ballard is here. He's not getting fired now, not next week, not next month, not next 2 months. Like, the only way we see Chris Ballard fired before the conclusion of next season is if the Colts end up like 0-8, 0-9, and like it's just blown up to destruction and smithereens, and our team is obliterated. We just absolutely suck. Like, we're not, and even then, like, you'll see Shane Steichen go for sure, probably even before 0-8 or 0-7 if that were to happen. But that's not happening. So I urge you all, please, like, guys, get a grip. You're yelling in this echo chamber of fire Chris Ballard, fire Chris Ballard. Like, it's not happening right now. Get over it. And let's just see what happens here. Like, that's all we can do. They're not moving from him. So enough with the echo chamber, enough with the angry tweets at Chris Ballard. We all get it. You don't like how he runs things. The offseason has not even officially started, and it's just every single day, tweet after tweet, Reddit post after Reddit thread, like, why is Chris Ballard still our GM? Like, if you're still asking that question, why are you an idiot? Why are you stupid? Why do you not have the ability to comprehend things? He is our GM because we said we're going to roll with him for another year. And Carly or Gordon did say the pressure is higher than it's ever been on him. All right? So if we're going to take that into consideration, this is his last chance. That's it. So let's just hope for the best. Or if you're so hell-bent on him getting him fired, hope for the worst. And if that's the case, why the hell are you complaining when we're losing Alec Pierce? You want him fired? This is how you get it done, right? Some of us still want to see the Colts succeed, regardless of who's the GM. Some of us want to see him succeed, regardless of who's the head coach. Some of us love the team no matter what. So if you're not one of those people, you shouldn't be complaining about anything. Because if anything, it's just going to move the regime that you hate so much out. So, just kill off all of the complaints about this. It just doesn't make any sense. And again, if you want to see this team succeed and you're complaining because we didn't get Alec Pierce, guys, it's just like I said, it's not the end of the world. And there's still so much out. We haven't lost him yet. We haven't locked him up, but we haven't lost him yet. So there's time. Let's just give it some air. Let's breathe, and we will find out what happens. I want to remind everybody what our weapons look like in the event we lose Alec Pierce. And let's say we don't do anything at all to add any other weapons, which is obviously not going to happen. We're going to add more weapons to this roster. But even if we didn't, Daniel Jones will be throwing to Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Tyler Warren, and has Jonathan Taylor to hand the ball off to. You cannot honestly tell me that that makes you depressed. You can't honestly say that you don't have faith that this is a good roster. This is good. These are good weapons. Like, come on, guys. Give me a break here. We are okay. We lost our deep threat. Ashton Dulin is a deep threat as well. Now, I'm not saying Ashton Dulin is Alec Pierce, because I think Alec Pierce is up here, and I think Ashton Dulin, I'm not going to put anything because that's disrespectful. I like Ashton Dulin. But I just think that Alec Pierce as a whole, like the whole package at wide receiver, the potential he has as a whole package at wide receiver is much higher. That's all I'm going to say. I like Ashton Dulin. I do. And so I think we can do a lot with Ashton Dulin. He's a weapon, if he could stay healthy, of course. He's a weapon. So, we're not starving for weapons here. We're losing the best deep threat in the NFL. That hurts. Cry about it, but get over it very quickly. It's not the end of the world, guys. It's going to suck if we see him on, the Patriots or the Tennessee Titans, for example. I know the Titans are interested in them. That's going to suck. But, end of the day, I mean, can we really complain all that much? Let's be honest, we have a pretty good setup here in Indianapolis. And this doom and gloom that's all over the Colts nation is just, guys, let's come back down to earth. It's not as bad as we are making it out to be. We are not far and away from being playoff contenders, super contenders. I mean, just last year, granted, injuries derailed our season, and it looked really, and it was a monumental collapse, one that hopefully we never see something like that ever again. We were 8-2 at one point, and we had two guys that looked like MVP caliber players, and we had the best offense in the NFL. Then our quarterback gets injured, and everything starts going downhill, right? We lose starting corner after starting corner after starting corner, and we end up with 6th, 7th, and 8th string cornerbacks playing football. And it's just rough. It's not a good time, and that second half of the season was awful. But, we're not far away. Clearly, we have the talent. Clearly, we have the weapons to make things work. We just have to get it for a full season, and we'll see where we go from there. We're not far away, though. So the doom and gloom, it's just got to stop, guys. We need to relax. Genuinely, we need to relax. The Alec Pierce situation, as bad as it seems, is not nearly as bad as it is. So let's calm ourselves down. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Stephon Diggs recently released from the New England Patriots. So there's some receivers available out there. DJ Moore was just traded from the Bears to the Bills. And now A.J. Brown is being in talks to being traded from Philadelphia, although the asking price is pretty nuts. I heard like the Patriots offered a first and a third for him, and Howie Roseman turned that down. So I can't imagine he actually does get moved, or maybe they're just playing hardball to see as much as they can get, and then they'll accept some kind of other offer. I hate to see his approval ratings if he accepts anything less than the first and the third at this point, but that remains to be seen. March 11th, the official season starts, and on Monday, so tomorrow, I'm recording this on Sunday, March 8th. So on the 9th of March, which is a Monday, is going to begin the official tampering period for the NFL. I'm not sure what time exactly it starts, but if you are new to the NFL offseason, this official tampering period is not officially the start of the offseason, but it's when teams can start to talk to players and negotiate contracts. And even if they are not on their roster, like to re-sign them or anything, like you can go out and try to talk to these free agents and these unrestricted free agents and try to negotiate some offers and contracts with them. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of agreements made during this tampering period. If you're new to the offseason, this happens a lot. You're going to see Adam Schefter tweet that Alec Pierce has agreed to terms on a 4-year, $100 million contract with the New England Patriots, right? You might see that news headline. He hasn't signed or inked the deal yet, but it's pretty much that they are in agreement. He's going to sign there. And then at the start of the new year, which is March 11th, 4 p.m. Eastern, he will ink that deal officially, or maybe something falls through, who knows. But that's essentially what the tampering period is. It's just you're going to see news of guys signing all over the place, or more rumors and stuff, and they're going to tease us with this and that. Be ready. This is the fun part of the offseason. This is what we live for. This is what brings us back to life. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I'm recording a podcast today. This is the thing that injected the juice necessary to get the voice of the Colts back in front of the camera, talking to my lovely fans and viewers and listeners and all the like. So that's all I really have for the Alec Pierce situation. I think it sucks. It's going to suck to lose him. It's not the end of the world. What does it mean for Michael Pittman Jr., though? Now, Michael Pittman Jr., we talked about, he's owed $29 million this year. And so there's a few options, but I don't think that there's any world where Chris Ballard doesn't address Michael Pittman Jr. this offseason. Because $29 million, like I said, is a top 5, top 6 wide receiver money for a guy that has not been top 5 or top 6. So we have to do something, right? And the options are pretty simple. It's either cut him, which I don't like the idea of that at all. We are already in the process of losing Alec Pierce. Cutting Michael Pittman doesn't guarantee that Alec Pierce will come, because it'll allow us to give him the money to bring him back. But remember what we said about Alec Pierce's demands. He wants consistency in winning, which we don't provide that. And he wants certainty at quarterback, which we can't provide that either. So although he likes Daniel Jones, there's just no certainty with Daniel Jones. And then I can't imagine a world where Alec Pierce, it doesn't cross his mind that Daniel Jones is coming off an Achilles. I know he says he really likes him, but personally, without talking to media members and off the record, there's no chance. He's not like, there's a possibility Daniel Jones isn't the Daniel Jones I played with last year. Like, this is an Achilles injury, a long list of major injuries he's dealt with. I don't know if I could trust that he's still going to be that guy. And there's so many quarterbacks out there, and I look at my market. So I don't see a world where we cut Michael Pittman Jr. because we just have absolutely no guarantee in signing Alec Pierce. So that I would take that out of there, but it is a possibility. It's an option, and it'll save you $24 million if you were to do so. The next option is to trade Michael Pittman Jr. Now, trading Michael Pittman Jr. is more likely than cutting him. Still, I think less likely than the third option, which we'll get into. But trading him is going to be difficult. And as you see, I mean, we're seeing there's interest in the league of trading for wide receivers. I can't recall 100% what DJ Moore's trade value was. But the DJ Moore trade was, I got it. He was a 2026 second round pick. So the Bears agreed to trade DJ Moore and a 5th round in 2026 for a 2026 second round pick. So that's what was traded for DJ Moore. And obviously we talked about A.J. Brown, whose first and a third isn't enough to get A.J. Brown. Michael Pittman Jr. will probably be 3rd round, maybe 4th round value. Like, he has 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round value. He does. And for a lot of the people that say, there's no chance we get a 2nd round pick for Michael Pittman Jr. DJ Moore is older than Michael Pittman Jr., was not as productive as Michael Pittman Jr., and still got it. Be it he was traded with a 5th-round pick, so maybe you got to throw something else in a little bit to get it. But I think there's a possibility the Colts can achieve another 2nd-round pick by trading Michael Pittman Jr. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. So I wouldn't rule it out. So that's one option, which, again, saves you $24 million, can bring back some draft capital to get you some more weapons. Problem with that is Josh Downs is now your wide receiver 1. And there's no world where I think that that's okay. I like Josh Downs a lot. I love Josh Downs. I think he's phenomenal for what he does in the role he plays. I don't think he could step into that wide receiver 1, and I don't think you get a wide receiver 1 with a 2nd-round pick necessarily. Maybe not. Who knows? Talent is everywhere with wide receivers, so it's possible. Maybe we sign Stephon Diggs. Doesn't necessarily match the culture vibe of the Indianapolis Colts. So I don't necessarily see it being very plausible, but it's possible. And he's a phenomenal wide receiver. So, take that with what you will. I think the Colts want to stay young and get younger. So I think the most likely probability, what was that? The most likely probability here for the future of Michael Pittman Jr. is we reconstruct his contract. We extend him for 2 or 3 more years, and we can alleviate some of that cap hit for this next season with a reconstructed contract. So there's that. And I think that's more likely the direction we head in because we have no certainty with bringing back Alec Pierce. There's been news and talks early on that they were close to a deal, and then it fell off, and then they had the transition tag Daniel Jones, and now it's like he's testing the market, and everything kind of cut from there. Alec Pierce does like Indianapolis a lot. Sauce Gardner is going to do his best to try to keep him here. Him and Sauce are good friends, played in college together. And there's still going to be conversations that tries to keep Alec Pierce here. And we don't know for sure if teams are actually going to offer Alec Pierce $25 million plus per year, which is what the projections are saying, which is kind of what takes the Colts out of the running, right? One of the big things that takes the Colts out of the running, at least. We don't know that the New England Patriots, who just cleared space with Stephon Diggs, will offer Alec Pierce that. It's possible. It makes a lot of sense for them. Drake May has a great deep ball, and he's a deep ball merchant, as Sauce Gardner coined. I don't know that that's 100% feasible. I don't know that he's actually going to command that because, like I said before, he's not proven to be a top 5, top 10 wide receiver yet. He's proven to be the best deep threat in the NFL. That doesn't always get you the biggest bag in the world. And that's not something you can consistently be every single season, right? So I don't know that GMs are looking at him and they're salivating and they're foaming at the mouth to pay him $28 million. Like, it doesn't feel like as realistic as everyone makes it seem. Now, I could be completely wrong. I don't have sources. I just want to make that emphatically clear, guys. My sources is trust me, bro. That's it. So I don't have sources. I just don't necessarily think that I see it the same way as a lot of media members are saying they see it. Maybe they know more. I know that some of them that have said it, I know they don't have sources in New England that have told them this. So they are also on the trust me bro side. Maybe they have more sources than me, for sure, but they're also kind of trust me bro guys as well. So we have to wait and see how this plays out. Again, tomorrow's the tampering period where we're going to hear the offers Alec Pierce gets. And rumors are he's probably going to be the most sought-after free agent to start that tampering period. So we're probably going to hear news pretty quickly. So I'm probably going to get it back on here tomorrow after I get off of work, if I have the energy for that. I hope I do. And I'm going to try to make sure I do. But as long as I have the energy for it, I'm going to get back on here tomorrow and we'll talk about all the news that comes out from the tampering period. And I'll try to be more consistent with maybe day-to-day or maybe at least semi-daily posts or whatever. Is that bi-daily? Not semi-daily. Semi-daily would be like twice a day. I don't know. Maybe like once every 2 days, like, something like that. But we're going to get going with that and I'll pop up the episode. So make sure if you're watching this and you enjoy the content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that little notification jingle bell button so that way you get notified when I post, because clearly I am not the most consistent guy in the world. I'm going to try to be more consistent, but I can't promise anything because I can't tell the future and I suck. Whatever. But moving forward with the conversation, so the whole reason we're in this mess in the first place with Alec Pierce is because the Colts decided to transition tag Daniel Jones. Now, why that's important is, well, this is the first transition tag since 1996 on a quarterback. That was the Falcons transition tagging Jeff George. I didn't even know that was a thing in 96. I was born in 1995. This is the first time I've ever seen in my lifetime that I've ever seen the transition tag even placed on a quarterback. Obviously, Jeff George was placed during my lifetime, but I was not even a year old yet. Don't remember that. But the transition tag puts us at roughly 37. I want to say it's like $37.8 million of cap hit from Daniel Jones, for Daniel Jones. And that hits us immediately. So we're immediately $37.8 million, which is more than the cap space we had available, which puts us over the cap before the regular season. Now, we fixed the problem, and I'm going to get into how we fixed the problem later on in the show. But for now, just know we have a lot of cap casualties coming up very soon because of this tag. Now, they placed this tag to give them security for their most important position as they enter negotiations for a possible long-term contract. And this gives them a little bit more leverage because if they didn't tag him, Daniel Jones would be free to talk to anybody and sign wherever he wants, and the Colts would not have the ability to match it. I mean, they could match, but he wouldn't have to sign with the Colts. He wouldn't have to worry about that. Now, if the Colts match, he signs with the Indianapolis Colts. So the transition tag does give us some security at that quarterback position, which, as we all know, is the most important position of all time. And it's the reason why we didn't tag Alec Pierce, and we're in that situation. A lot of fans are upset with the choice, saying they should have let Daniel Jones walk or test the market because his market is not going to be as robust as Alec Pierce's market. While that is a fair observation, 100% a fair point, and I do agree with that, here's the issue. We're not talking about tagging a wide receiver or tagging like a running back over a wide receiver. We're not talking about tagging a linebacker over a wide receiver. No, we're talking about tagging the most important position in the sport, in all of sports. I understand why the Colts did this move. The security that they need, and they love Daniel Jones. We all love Daniel Jones. And now some of us have our doubts. I myself am 100%. I mean, you guys have heard me on this podcast absolutely trash Daniel Jones. After the Steelers game, after the Falcons game, after the Chiefs game, after the Texans game, I shit on him every single time after. Like, there was not a single game I thought he played well in post Steelers. I didn't think, like, Falcons, he was the Chiefs, he was awful. Texans, he was awful. Jaguars, he gets injured. So, like, I'm obviously not the biggest fan in the world of Daniel Jones, but we all really did love Indiana Jones when he was Indiana Jones before the fractured leg in Berlin. So there's still a lot of faith in that locker room for Daniel Jones. And they say that he's recovering very well from the surgery and that he's going to be ready for training camp, which is massive, because if you're ready for training camp, then like you're going to be ready for the season. And if you're fully healthy for the season, maybe you can get back to doing what you did before. Now we have our doubts. A lot of people have their doubts, and that's so fair. No one's saying you're crazy for having your doubts about Daniel Jones. And if they are, they're crazy. If like you're someone that doesn't have any doubts at all that Daniel Jones will effectively be the best quarterback ever again, right? You have zero doubts in your mind. Like, you got to understand what the hell an Achilles injury is and the recovery timetable for that and what it's looked like in the past. And it's kind of unheard of for a guy to just, he's recovering a month faster than pretty much anyone at that position has ever done it. And you're expecting him to be 100% right off the muscle too. And it's just not a very realistic expectation. But I understand why we transition tag the quarterback position. This is their desperation play. They don't have a lot of options. And Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen both know they don't have a lot of time to find other options. I'm going to turn this fan on real quick. Hopefully it doesn't make a lot of noise, guys. I stayed quiet to see if the mic would pick it up, but it's not picking it up. I think we're okay. So we don't have that many options at quarterback that we trust intrinsically. Like this is someone that Shane Steichen really loves. We talk about the preparation. We talk about the execution of the game plan, and he did it so flawlessly. Like, it was the best the Colts offense has looked in over a decade. Like, it was beautiful. It was magnificent the way he ran the offense until, of course, the Steelers game and beyond. So I can understand why we really wanted to tag him there, and I don't hate the move because you're going to have that ability. And now, while he's tagged, it doesn't guarantee he's going to be on our team. So let me explain the difference between a franchise tag and a transition tag. The difference between the franchise tag and the transition tag is franchise tag is a little bit more expensive. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. I want to say about $6 million more expensive than the transition tag, because franchise tag is the average of the top 5 salaries of that position, whereas transition tag is the average salaries of the top 10 at that position. So you have a bit of a cheaper tag there. With the franchise tag, if a team were to offer Daniel Jones a contract and the Colts refused to match that offer, that team would then have to give the Indianapolis Colts 2 first-round picks. With the transition tag, the Colts receive no compensation if they refuse to match any offer he gets. Now, why it was smarter to place the transition tag than the franchise tag? Pretty simple. Nobody in their right mind is going to give up 2 first-round picks and a contract the Colts won't match. Remember, because that's a big thing. Like, Colts get the right to match any offer. So if you're offering him 3 years for $80 million, $90 million, like, the Colts are probably matching that offer, right? We're more than likely matching that offer. It's unrealistic to think that that's what's going to be. I mean, I wouldn't say unrealistic, but he's projected much more than that. But if that's the offer that was given, the Colts would match it, more than likely. Now, we don't know what number's been floated around and the reason why Colts couldn't come to a deal and an agreement with Daniel Jones at the time. That's where a lot of people are upset with the front office. They say, well, the tag should have been placed on Pierce because a deal should have been done with Daniel Jones. But the clear objection to that is, well, we don't know what offer was being placed. Like, was Daniel Jones asking for $45 million per year for 4 years? If that's the case, see you later. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You're out of your mind. I am not doing that. Right? That's probably Chris Ballard's reaction. That was my best Chris Ballard impression, right? It's not a great one, but I don't know if that's what he was looking for particularly, or what it was that he was. I got no clue. I'll be honest, I got no idea. Again, I have no sources. This is all trust me, bro stuff. And nothing's really been reported as to the exact details of what he asked for. So we can make our assumptions because a lot of you hate Chris Ballard, and so you think it's just mismanagement. But he might have saved the Colts from a hell contract with a guy that might never play football again. Like, we don't know that Daniel Jones is going to come back and be the same guy he is. He might suck. He might get injured again and end his career. If all of that is guaranteed, we would still have to pay all that out, and we would be in cap hell for 4 or 5 years, right? That sucks. That idea sucks. There is a risk to that. There is no guarantee with Daniel Jones. Now, I like the guy. I thought he played fantastic for 8 weeks of the season. But again, the season's not 8 weeks long. It's 17 weeks long. And so even with that, that's not enough to make me feel super confident and give him $45 million per year, $50 million per year, or even $40 million per year. I don't feel super confident about that. If you go back to the episodes prior, I brought this conversation up earlier in the season when we talked about him while he was absolutely hoping. He was hoping. And we said, what number are we okay with? And I brought this up many times, and I said, I don't know what number I'm okay with. All I know is that if we end up in the playoffs, if we go to the Super Bowl, blank check, give him whatever he wants. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And so now I'm hesitant with a lot of the numbers being thrown out. And again, they're numbers by those AI slot programs that put out football news. So nothing really official has come out, but they're just like the projected contracts and numbers that mean nothing. I'm not okay with any of those numbers. There's $40 million for 3 years. There's $50 million for 5 years or 4 years, whatever, like per year, by the way. When I say 5 years, it's not over 5, it's per year for 5 years. Obviously, I think anyone that watches the sport would know that. But if you don't watch the sport, that's my clarification for you. I'm going to try to help people understand this because I know what I've noticed is that a lot of people that have watched my content are people that aren't super big football nerds like myself and like others, right? So I'll try my best to explain things more often and in layman's terms and try to not be so condescending about, oh, it's obviously this. I apologize for that. If you didn't know what I meant when I said 50 million for 5 years, I apologize. That's me misleading you and saying wrong things. It's 50 million per year for 5 years or something like that. That's what has been floated around by AI Slop, by the way. Again, none of that has been substantiated, and I highly doubt that number was ever even floated around. I'm just saying that's what I've seen on the internet, and that's 100% a big no from me. And that's why we're in the situation we're in, where they had to place the transition tag. A deal couldn't get done. And now, with the transition tag, we talked about why no one would offer him if he was on a franchise tag, so it's no sense in spending the extra $6 million on that, because you would have to essentially offer a guy coming off of his Achilles injury who's only had 1.5 good seasons and has been injured for most of his career. You would have to offer that guy 4 years, $200 million, right? Some crazy stuff like that. Obviously not 4 years. That's 50. Yeah, well, maybe. But you would have to offer him something like that. And so you're going to give him $50 million per year, and you're going to give up 2 first-round picks for Daniel Jones. That's not happening. So the Colts placed the transition tag, which is about $37.8 million, and teams can offer him, and we'll get no compensation if we don't match. Does that suck that we get no compensation? Sure, it's going to suck. But at the same time, we'll relieve ourselves of $37.8 million immediately in cap space, and we'll be able to look into the not so attractive list of quarterbacks, but also not super unattractive list of quarterbacks in free agency. And maybe we get to start from my favorite player on the Indianapolis Colts right now, Riley Leonard. He's not really my favorite player, but he's actually one of them. I love Riley Leonard, and I've talked about him. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about him after the Texans game on the episode, but I was absolutely over the moon with that performance, and I've been saying it over and over again. I've watched his quarterback class with John Gruden. I've rewatched that game against the Texans about 18 times since the end of the season. I'm not exaggerating. Anytime I feel down or depressed, I go back and I watch Week 18 of the 2025 season with Riley Leonard's first start of his career. He was fantastic. And now, mind you, he had some major rookie mistakes. He had a couple turnovers. One was the very last play of the game, so it doesn't really count. It is what it is. One was a really ugly interception. One was he was holding it too long, fumbled as he was getting hit. Rookie mistakes, things that we can clean up. It's not unheard of for rookies to make mistakes, am I right? So things that we can clean up. But overall, I mean, dude is gutsy, nice deep ball, good movement. I mean, he can run. He looks good, dude. The confidence, he's glowing. I mean, and he's a sponge for knowledge. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about why I think it's his destiny to become the Colts starting quarterback in 2026. I'll have that in a moment, but I want to come back a little bit back around to the whole transition tag with Daniel Jones and why it's not entirely unfeasible that he does. I don't know what my camera just did, but why it's not unfeasible that he goes to another team here. So we have him at $37.8 million. We don't get any compensation if he signs elsewhere, if we don't match. I like the transition tag because teams are going to offer him whatever they offer him, right? And he's obviously not going to take anything less than $40 million at this point, because unless it's like for guaranteed money for 4 years, because he's making $37.8 this year, right? So like if he does accept a $35 per year contract, it's probably because he's going to have like all of it fully guaranteed, and it's a 4-year deal, and it's fully guaranteed. And so that's $140 million. 4 years, $140 million, fully guaranteed contract. He'll take that in a heartbeat. I would imagine he'd take that in a heartbeat because in case he ever gets injured again, he's still paid. His family's taking care of all the good stuff. He's going to have an opportunity to start elsewhere. I don't know if any team's offering him that. I don't know what teams are looking to offer him. What I do like is the fact that the Colts have now secured a quarterback that we know does really well in our system. If no one offers it, we tender that contract for $37.8 million, and we end up negotiating an extension if he does play well, if he doesn't get injured, so on and so forth, and we protect ourselves if he does. So I don't mind it at all. I actually like that we transition tagged Daniel Jones. I think it's a good move to do so. This protects us from the possibility of not knowing who would be our quarterback going into season. Because if you guys remember, Anthony Richardson has demanded a trade. Well, Colts and Anthony Richardson both mutually agreed to seek a trade for him. I don't know what the value for Anthony Richardson is going to be, but I'd imagine a young quarterback with a lot of raw talent can generate a little bit of buzz in the NFL. So I'm positive Anthony Richardson will not be on the Indianapolis Colts next year, right? And if Daniel Jones wasn't tagged and decided to sign elsewhere, the only quarterback we really have feasibly to use, Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard, and I love Riley Leonard. Rookie quarterback, no backups, not a recipe for success. There is, however, someone whose name has been floated around that I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews, and I want to address that right now. And it's crazy that there's mixed reviews. Kyler Murray is set to be released from the Arizona Cardinals. I want to make something emphatically clear. Kyler Murray is going to sign wherever Kyler Murray wants to sign. Okay? It's as simple as that. This is a quarterback whose contract is being taken care of by the former team and can only sign for the veteran minimum, which is less than $2 million. A starting caliber quarterback for less than $2 million. If you say no to that, you're an idiot. I'm not saying sparing feelings. You are absolutely stupid. I spit because of how stupid you are. I apologize. That was actually nasty. But seriously, like, that's crazy. Anyone that says they don't want Kyler Murray, you're an idiot. It's it's less than $2 million. From my knowledge, it might be a little more. I don't know. It's down there. Like he can't double dip. He can't take more than what was paid for on his contract, and his contract is being paid for. The guarantees are being paid for by Arizona. So he's signing for the veteran minimum wherever he goes. Any team that wants a quarterback for any reason should be offering him that contract. There should be 32 offers in front of him. To be honest, there should be 32 offers because Kyler Murray is a backup for $1.2 million, 1.4, 1.6, whatever it is, or $2 million, whatever it is good money. That's good money. Okay, let me tell you, that's good money. All right? So that's getting offered. It's his choice where he wants to go. He has interest in coming to Indianapolis because he wants to be a starter. So the Colts can rescind that tag off Daniel Jones and say, hey, we'll roll with Kyler Murray. And I wouldn't hate that because, again, you're moving from a $37.8 million contract for a guy coming off an Achilles injury that's only had 1.5 good seasons, made the playoffs one time in his whole life, and has a long list of injuries, and coming off probably the most major of them all with an Achilles tear, and coming back sooner than most people recommend. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I'm hesitant to even sign Daniel Jones in the first place. So Kyler Murray, sign me up, $1.2 million. And here's the thing about Kyler. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I think he has a high floor. I think he has a low ceiling. Actually, I don't think he has a high floor. There's times where I think he looks awful. But he has a higher floor than most of the guys available. Like, we're not looking at Geno Smith. Kirk Cousins is super old, and we've done the whole old veteran guy. We've had Matt Ryan. We had Joe Flacco. We had Phillip Rivers. Like, we've done that way too many times already in the past. We don't want to go back to that life. Derek Carr coming out of retirement. Possibly his rights are still retained by the Saints, but Saints will be happy to move him while they have Tyler Shugg. And so, like, there's options available. The Tua Tagovailoa is going to be available. I don't know the contract issue with Tua necessarily. If it's the same as Kyler, write the check, write it up. It doesn't make sense why you wouldn't. Like, if a quarterback is coming to your team for $2 million. Like, you're an idiot if you say no. I don't care who the quarterback is. Like, you're getting a quarterback for $2 million. Like, you're just actually stupid if you say no. Like, I have to look into it because, again, I'm not sure if Tua's situation is the same. If it is, if it isn't, you guys can put it in the comments. Let me know. I'll probably look into it myself later on in the day. But if that's the case, like, you sign the contract. You offer him immediately. Like, there's no way in hell that you talk about two guys who are starting quarterbacks in the NFL, top picks in the draft, and guys that are actually pretty talented players, albeit unsuccessful with their current teams, and things broke down probably really bad. But that number is way too attractive for you to just gamble on it. Like, we took a gamble on Daniel Jones, who you can argue much worse position. Like, when he left New York, looked a lot worse coming out of New York to Indy than Kyler Murray is leaving Arizona. If we're being honest, like, it's not a crazy situation. And we gave Daniel Jones, I think it was $14 million. So I don't see a world where how anyone is against the Kyler Murray idea. Even if we keep Daniel Jones, you could still bring in Kyler Murray. Personally, it'll hurt my soul a little bit because it'll make me feel like we're not going to see Riley Leonard for 2026 at all, which hurts my soul because I really want to see Riley Leonard. I'm telling you guys, Riley is him. All right, he's the future. But, the future might not be now. That's all it is. But Kyler Murray's there, and, you take him. And he's interested in Indianapolis. Now, again, I think his interest is in Indianapolis if he's going to be the starter. And Daniel Jones being on the tag means more than likely we're not going to have both Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray and then Riley Leonard at quarterback. That's probably not realistic because Kyler wants to start. So we'll see how he goes. Again, Monday's the legal tampering period, so there are going to be offers on the table. It's up to Kyler Murray, though. I fully expect 32 offer sheets for him to look at. Fully anticipate 32, or 31, I should say, because obviously not the Cardinals. But there should be 31 sheets for him to look at, right? Because he is a good quarterback that is going to cost you peanuts. You take that deal every day. I brought up earlier Riley Leonard's destiny to starting for the Indianapolis Colts, and I want to let you guys know I've done minimal research on this, but I know from watching some videos that some of these things are true, and I don't have all the names. But I'm going to tell you something. Riley Leonard, he grew up in the same neighborhood as Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers even helped train him at times. And this is stuff that he mentioned to John Gruden on the quarterback class. So that's pretty much where most of my information is coming from, by the way. So, why is this destiny? So Philip Rivers trained him. That's an NFL quarterback. Obviously, he has ties to the Colts. Boom. There's your first connection is Philip Rivers, who also would then come back to play for Indianapolis and take away Riley Leonard's opportunity to play football, but was in the building. And then you saw the way that Riley Leonard played when he played in the building with Philip Rivers. You saw how he played in Week 18 with Philip Rivers in the building with him, and he looked like a monster. It was fantastic, right? So that's our first connection. Riley Leonard then goes to Duke for college. Duke has a coach that coached Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and Duke is also a place where Daniel Jones went to college. And I believe the head coach, maybe it was the head coach that coached Riley, coached Daniel Jones. I don't know the overlap of that. I just know there was some guy in Duke that coached Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and I believe Daniel Jones as well, and also coached Riley Leonard at Duke. I don't know if it was a head coach, OC, what it was. I didn't look that deep into it. I heard this and I was like, oh, that's a connection. So that's another connection, right? Daniel Jones also went to Duke and now is the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. There's more connections there. A lot of connections there. The Colts signed Daniel Jones last season after drafting Riley Leonard in the 6th round. You see where I'm going with this, guys? They brought in Daniel Jones. It's almost as if they are trying to prep him. Like they pushed him into Duke to get coached by the guy that coached Peyton Manning to prep him for Peyton's to follow in Peyton's footsteps. And then he goes from Duke. He goes to Notre Dame, obviously. He plays for Coach Freeman, and they go to the national championship and almost have a crazy comeback and almost win that national championship. They didn't win the national championship. It is what it is. Yada yada yada. We get him. We draft him in the 6th round, and we bring him to Indianapolis, where Daniel Jones is now our starting quarterback. Daniel Jones, greatest prep guy in the world, apparently. And Riley Leonard, sponge of knowledge, learning so much, just soaking it up from Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones gets hurt. And instead of just throwing Riley Leonard to the Wolves, 6th round pick, just saying, hey, now it's your team. No. We're not going to make the same mistake we made with Anthony Richardson. No. We're going to bring somebody here that's going to help mentor Riley Leonard. But not just anybody. No. Let's bring a childhood mentor who already has a connection here. Easy. Shane Steichen, the guy that coached Philip Rivers, mind you, who's now coaching Riley Leonard. Yet another connection. Calls up Phillip, come to Indy. You're starting quarterback. He gets the start for 3 weeks. He loses every single game, but he stays for week 18. And we mentioned it earlier. Riley Leonard starts that game. It's his first career start, and he absolutely hoped. I mean, he hung 30 on the best defense in the league. Now, we lost that game, and obviously we mentioned he had his mistakes, his fair share of mistakes and whatnot, but let's be honest, guys. That was freaking fantastic. Like, he looked good. First start of his career? Granted, it was week 18, but good enough for you to at least be a little intrigued. Let's not pretend like we're not a little bit intrigued. I love the concept of Riley Leonard being our starting quarterback. At some point, it doesn't have to be 2026. It doesn't have to be beginning of the year. It doesn't have to be any time this season. I love the concept of him starting for us sometime in the near future. That's it. Could be 2027. Don't freak out, everybody. Don't be like, oh, Reef is an idiot. He wants Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard sucks. We don't know that he sucks. He looked really good in his only start in the NFL. So, shut up, maybe. You know? Give him a chance. I'm not basing this off of nothing. I watched the quarterback class, and I loved what I saw from him with John Gruden. Granted, I mean, that's more of a personality thing, but I loved it, and I like his attitude, his moxie. And then I saw him play in Jacksonville, where he was thrown into the worst of the worst kind of situation. It's a monsoon outside. Your starting quarterback gets injured. You've never taken reps with the first team in your entire life. And now you're thrown into a divisional game with the playoffs on the line and all the pressure in the world. And you just got to go and make something happen. It's a complete monsoon. It's a mess, an ugly situation, everything. He still scored a touchdown. He ran it in for a touchdown. We got absolutely torched. Defense couldn't stop the thing, and he couldn't really get a lot done. Rookie, but he made some pretty impressive throws that game. If you go back and watch the Jacksonville game again, Riley Leonard made some pretty impressive throws. He wasn't given any green light, which makes sense because, again, he had no preparation for that game. No real prep, at least, right? So it made sense not to give him the green light. But then when he was given a full green light against the Texans, come on now. I mean, boy, he looked good. Please tell me y'all think he looked good. I mean, I loved what I saw from Riley Leonard that game. Small sample size, sure. But there's options for us at quarterback, guys. All I'm saying is we're not in a terrible situation. Daniel Jones is practically a guarantee that we can have him on our team, right? As long as no one offers him a ridiculous contract, we can tender that $37.8 million tag, and we have a starting quarterback. If he gets injured, Riley Leonard's a really good backup. If Riley Leonard is not the guy that you want to see, maybe you sign Kyler Murray. Maybe you sign another veteran in the offseason. Like I said, there's many that are available. Derek Carr's looking to come out of retirement, although he's probably looking to start somewhere. Geno Smith, which no one wants that. Malik Willis, probably getting a starting job somewhere, so that's probably not realistic. But there's options. There's quarterbacks left and right everywhere. And Indianapolis is a really good situation. And if you're looking for a starting job, but guys aren't really offering you the real guarantee for a starting job, Indianapolis is a good place to look. The reason Indianapolis is a good place to look is there's a good chance that Daniel Jones doesn't make it through the entire season. And I don't like to say that. Like, I'm not wishing injury on him. I'm just saying if you're looking at probabilities, if he is, on the off chance he is fully healthy through the whole season, you might get to ride the coattails to a Super Bowl season. Colts have a fantastic offense. We're only looking to improve on defense right now. Great secondary. Like the roster as a whole looks really good as a whole. Some obvious moves still need to be made. But, I mean, who says... if I'm a guy like, let's say, if I'm Marcus Mariota, that's a name right there. That's a good name. If I'm Marcus Mariota, why wouldn't I take the Colts under consideration? Why not? Even if I'm Kirk Cousins. Like, I know Kirk wants to start somewhere, but maybe don't. Maybe be the backup in the old veteran that has to come in case of anything. And then listen, if Daniel Jones is injured again, gets injured again, he's out for the season, and we're done with Daniel Jones' experiment, and Kirk Cousins comes in, there's a short leash for him. I think if that happens, we're going to see Riley Leonard play football in 2026 at that point. So I'm excited for any of those possibilities. Regardless of what we do, we have Riley Leonard. And for me, that has some excitement level to it. That has a good amount of excitement level to it. Like, that's why I'm not panicking about any of this. And I don't know if the Colts GM and front office feel the same way, because they tagged Daniel Jones out of fear of not having him. But maybe it is. Maybe it's something that is there, because they say, you know what? Let's transition tag Daniel Jones. Let's try to get him to convince him to take a long-term deal that's not as crazy AAV as, has been reported. And in the event that we can't get that, well, we can have him for $37.8 for 1 year. And Riley Leonard's sitting right there. Gets one more year to learn how to prep from Daniel Jones and learn all those little things from Daniel Jones. And then we bring Riley Leonard in as a starter. Maybe we even play him into the season at some point. Daniel Jones might be healthy, but who knows that he plays well. Maybe he has a short leash, and we throw Riley Leonard in. That is a possibility. And that might be something that they are taking into consideration. I feel like as Colts fans, most of us are overlooking Riley. I clearly am not one of those guys. I am not overlooking him at all. I love the kid. So there's a possibility we see Riley Leonard play in 2036. I think it's his destiny, as I laid out earlier. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And to close out the show, we have one more topic. I know I've been running long. It's an hour, we're 55 minutes in. Guys, I haven't done a show for so long, so I'm trying to cover everything I missed. Hopefully, we can shrink these down a little bit. Or maybe you guys like them long. You let me know in the comments the duration that you feel. Because maybe you listen to this in your commutes and you have a long commute or something. I want to be your form of Colts commentary, your preferred choice of Colts commentary for whatever your needs are. So if you want it to be even longer, we could go and expand these shows even more. Obviously, I have guests on the show from time to time as well. If you're interested in being a guest, join the Discord. The link will be in the description. And today I just didn't decide to coordinate with guests because I just really wanted to get this done today. But yeah, so the final topic that we're going to get into is everyone's favorite podcaster was traded from Indianapolis to the Green Bay Packers. That's right. Most of you hate Zaire Franklin. Obviously, it was being facetious when I said favorite podcaster. Most of you hate Zaire Franklin. And in my opinion, hold on, wait, I can do this. Opinion. In my opinion, you guys hate Zaire Franklin because of his podcast, not because of the football. And a lot of you say it's because of the football. I don't think you mean it. I think you're looking for reasons outside of the podcast to say it because you're embarrassed and ashamed that that's a stupid reason to hate a football player is they're on a podcast and they talk shit. And I get it. I've heard people reference, he talked shit about the Giants, 2 years ago or something, and they were on, a 10-game losing streak, and they snapped it against us, and so it looked really bad. Who cares? Get over it. I see people still talking about, get over it. What are we talking about? Is he not? He's a linebacker. If my linebacker doesn't talk shit, cut him. That's when you cut him. He's soft. He's too soft to play the position. Zaire Franklin's a dog. And those guys, they play for their name. And I know it sounds crazy to think about that. Those dogs play for their name. But there's a reason. Linebackers need to be feared. It's not about the team. I know that sounds crazy for football fans and stuff like that. I get it. I promise you, I get it. I do. I truly understand. Remember what we called our favorite linebacker? The Maniac. We didn't have an all-pro defense, by the way. I don't know who needs to hear this, but that defense wasn't all-pro by any stretch of the imagination. It was better than this one, but it wasn't better. It wasn't that great. It wasn't top 5 defense in the NFL. Never. It never was. But the Maniac put fear into people's souls. The Maniac. And that's because of his game, his play. I'm not saying Zaire Franklin is Darius Leonard or Shaquille Leonard. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that linebackers need to build that persona of someone to be feared. That dog. That I'll mess you up, whoever you are. I'm on your ass. Right? That, you suck and I'm going to make it known. That is what a linebacker needs to be. Because he's the captain of a defense and he needs to be feared. So the idea that y'all hate him for that is just silly to me. That's just so stupid. Calm down. I see you're typing. I get it. Hold on. Take your hands off the keyboard for 2 seconds. Take it off the keyboard for 2 seconds. Hear me out. He had a terrible season this year. Terrible. He was awful. He was awful. I said it. He was terrible. Hey, listen. Awful. He was one of the worst linebackers in the league this year. He was awful. You don't have to write it. You don't have to write, he was the 83rd ranked PFF linebacker, which was second worst. You don't have to write that. I promise you, I know. I promise you, I know. He sucked. He sucked this year. But so did almost all of our defense. Just saying. I'm just saying. So did most of our defense. Am I proud of that? No. I'm just saying it's not all Zaire Franklin. That's all I was saying. You guys were dying for him to get traded, and now you have that. And we got him traded. We traded him to the Green Bay Packers for defensive tackle Colby Wooden. He's, I believe, 25. Turns 26 before the season starts, I believe. So he'll be 26. And so we went younger. Remember when the postseason press conferences were happening and we were talking about, Chris Ballard was talking about what we needed to do, and he said, like, oh, we got to get younger, we got to get faster on the defensive side. Well, Zaire Franklin out, Colby Wooden in. I don't know, I mean, you can't really say we got faster because Colby Wooden is a 290-pound defensive tackle. He ain't faster than Zaire Franklin. But he is younger, so, and we'll see. If you don't know who Colby Wooden is, don't worry, you're not alone. 95% of Colts fans don't either. You're going to see a lot of favorable tape on him because people want to be excited about him because, number one, he's new. Number two, we traded the guy that you guys hated more than anyone in the world for him. So you guys desperately want this to be a good trade, and I get that because I want it to be a good trade too. I as much as I love Zaire Franklin, and I think it's a huge loss, I think that I like, as much as I hate it and I think it's a huge loss, I still want it to be a good play, and I could see the potential in it being a good play. And I'll explain a little bit, but for the most part, there's not a lot of favorable film on this guy. They're going to show you all the gameplay tapes that you're going to see, and like, oh, this guy has raw pass rush ability, and he might be undersized, but he's really strong. He's this, that, and the third. Okay, guys, don't get sucked into all of that, please. Listen, let the film nerds be the film nerds, and guys, I love you film nerds. I really do. Film nerds are also a reason why Colts fans think Zaire Franklin sucks at football. Because I do remember seeing this. I remember seeing someone break down some film that kind of went viral through Colts Twitter. I forget who it was. I wish I could credit him because he's an awesome film nerd. I feel like I see his videos all the time. I just never remember his name. But he put up a video of like Zaire Franklin taking awkward angles and missing tackles or missing lanes, and that's why he didn't have as many tackles. He doesn't like it was one of those things where he was just showing like, yeah, the tackle stats are good, but this is where he could be better, and like angles are bad, and they ran with it. Colts Twitter ran with it. Like, they're like, oh, he can tackle, but he takes bad angles. Okay, bro. Okay. Like, I love you film nerds. I really do. Genuinely. No disrespect. I love what you do, and you're very smart. It's the other people that follow you that take what you say as gospel. And I feel like there's a responsibility of the film nerds to remember and say, guys, this doesn't mean that, like, I'm going to show you film, but the conclusion I come to isn't, like, gospel. You can come to other conclusions, and this is only a limited amount of film that we're showing. Because that's what happens. People now think that Zaire Franklin is a god-awful linebacker because of one film review that showed that he was taking bad angles, and because he said bad things on a podcast. He talked shit on a podcast and talked back to Pat McAfee. All stupid reasons to hate him. The idea that he sucks at football is the dumbest thing in the world. He did himself no favors by playing absolutely horrendous this season. So I kind of understand where the trade comes from. It's hard to defend him. I look stupid defending him right now. I'll be the first to admit it. I look stupid defending him because he had such an awful season this year. But the awful season this year was an anomaly. He's not that bad. And he's always been a very good player and an incredible leader. One of the Colts' favorite players in the locker room. Colts players talk all the day long about how much they respect and love Zaire Franklin. So this idea, and then people say he's like a locker room cancer. Yeah, the guy that's voted defensive captain year in and year out is a locker room cancer. Sometimes, man, I don't know how you guys like formulate your opinions and your logic. It's so beyond me. I genuinely don't know what it is. I'm arguing with faceless people on Twitter, by the way, when I say that. So maybe this doesn't apply to everyone. So please, if you're watching this, don't just get offended just to be offended. I'm probably not talking about you. You might be a guy that doesn't like Zaire Franklin, and I'm not talking about you. The people I don't like that talk crazy about Zaire Franklin were the people that I know for a fact don't actually think he's bad at football, just hate him because of his podcast stuff. There's a lot of people on the internet that hate his podcast stuff and say, that's why I don't like him. He talks too much shit. Get him off my team. I like those people. I respect those people. At least you own up to it. I don't like the people that fake football reasons to be the reason why you don't like him. Like everyone that says, oh, he's a liability in coverage. 98% of linebackers in the NFL are liabilities in coverage. What are you talking about? What do you want him to be? You want him to be a lockdown corner at linebacker? Like, what the shut up. Like, do you not watch football? I don't understand. Maybe you only watch Colts football, and that's fair because I mostly watch Colts football. I watch everybody, actually. I have the NFL Plus, so I like to rewatch games, condensed games usually, so it's quicker. On my lunch breaks throughout the week, I'll watch 2 or 3 games just to see what the NFL is looking like because I do pick-ems every year, and I like to make sure I know how I'm analyzing my teams, every team in the NFL. But there's people that probably only watch the Colts. So they might not realize how normal it is for linebackers to not be the greatest in coverage. But it's quite literally like very rare for a team to even have one linebacker that's really good in coverage. Now, he might be bad, like worse than a lot of guys, but he's not the worst. And it's just not a crazy thing for these guys. Like, you're talking about these hybrid tight ends that run as fast as wide receivers and are 6'6". Like, who the hell is covering that? What? So, again, I'm not an analyst either, so sources, trust me, bro. So if you guys think I'm an idiot, please feel free to call me an idiot. I don't care. We traded him anyway, so he's gone. I think he's going to hoop for the Packers. Just for whatever it's worth, I think he's going to hoop for the Packers. And I'm not going to let y'all forget it. So, but it's a cap casualty. It had to happen because the franchise tag to Daniel Jones put us over the cap, and we're going to face some serious penalties, possibly voiding contracts like the tag for Daniel Jones could have been voided. We could have lost draft picks. I forget, there was a team recently that lost draft picks for being over the cap entering the new year. And so there's like fines that you can pay as well. Like there's a bunch of penalties listed in the CBA, which would have screwed us over majorly had we not gotten under the cap. So this actually put us just barely under the cap, but it keeps us in the clear. And now we can move on to others. He will not be the... Oh, excuse me. I don't believe he'll be the only cap casualty. So be mindful of that. He might not be the only cap casualty. Kenny Moore could be on the block. I haven't heard news of anyone in particular yet. There hasn't been any news of anyone in particular yet. As I'm getting notifications, nothing from NFL, so I don't think we got some NBA notifications. Okay, yeah, nothing from the NFL. I want to make sure if there's any breaking news to break, I get to break it. That's always been a dream of mine. I get to break a fun news break or something on the podcast. That'd be cool. But there's going to be other names. And Kenny Moore has been floated out there. Grover Stewart has been floated out there, which I'm not super opposed to any one of those guys, either of those guys being moved. DeForest Buckner, I would love to keep. It would be a lot for me to say that's a bad move. And, I mean, you got to talk about we talked about Michael Pittman Jr. at $29 million. He's another cap casualty that we look into. I'm almost positive the Colts are going to try to reconstruct Quentin Nelson's contract. So we'll see if they extend him and reconstruct it to take a little bit of that cap hit away from this year as well with Quentin Nelson. Maybe even Jonathan Taylor, depending on how they feel about extending Jonathan Taylor. Maybe they try to get ahead of the 8 ball because, as we know, JT is not afraid to hold out to get his money that he's owed and he's due, and his price tag only went up. Like, after the season he just had and after the years he's had with us throughout his entire career with Indianapolis, if we play hardball with him, I don't think he'll be afraid to walk, and any team would be lucky to have Jonathan Taylor on their football team. I think he's the best running back in football. So there's a possibility we try to extend him and get ahead of that and try to free up some cap space there. Defensively, this trade has opened up a pretty big gap at linebacker for us. I think Jalen Carlisle and like Olubi are our 2 linebackers right now because Jermaine Pratt is a free agent. We just traded Zaire Franklin. It looks rough. It looks really ugly, really bad. The only thing that helps me with, like, taking this all in, because when I first heard the trade, my initial reaction was, this is stupid. Like, what a dumb trade. We're idiots. Like, what are we doing? You know, to me, it just bothered me because it's like, it felt like it was more like a gimme for the fans to get him off Chris Ballard's back than it was smart. But I took some time to think about it, and it made more sense the more I thought about it. The less because Colts fans, the eagerness to move Zaire Franklin because they didn't like his podcast and stuff, overtook the conversation. There was never any logic used, and then I started to kind of realize what was going on. I know Colts fans, a lot of you guys were actually using this logic I'm about to present, but you might hitch yourselves to this wagon and be like, yeah, see, I told you it was a good idea. But you guys really just hated Zaire. Like, people were talking about trading him for a bag of chips. F you. But the logic does make a lot of sense here. Talking about a guy that's 8 years in. It's going to save us about $5 million, which is just enough to get us under the cap there. We're going to get a young guy at defensive tackle, which we know we love. And Chris Ballard, to be honest, the one thing you can't say is he doesn't know how to draft linebackers, because that man is a home run hitter at linebacker. We're talking about Shaquille Leonard and Anthony Walker, which I thought both of those guys were. Shaquille Leonard, obvious home run because he's all pro. But I would say, like, A-Walk was like a double at least. Like, he's not like he wasn't a single, he was a double. Like, he was a monster with Darius Leonard. Like, it was awesome. When them two were together, it was awesome. Then they moved him because he drafted Bobby Okereke. Bobby Okereke, awesome. And then he ends up going to the Giants and playing very well for the Giants. And then we get Zaire Franklin in the 7th round, who, again, I'm someone who thinks awesome. Picked him up in the 7th round, grinded his way to the top, became a defensive captain, went all pro last year, led the league in tackles, led our team in tackles multiple years. Like, he was a really good linebacker. And I know a lot of people say that doesn't mean anything because that's a position that gets funneled tackles. It does mean something. Like, the stupidest, like, that's not logical. Everyone I don't know when this started, but I need to address this. It pissed me off all over again just thinking about it. The second I said he led the league in tackles, it came to my head that people are disrespecting that stat. Like, I don't know who started this trend of saying tackles don't mean anything and linebacker. Like, I heard someone say, like, if your linebacker leads your team in tackles, your defense sucks. What? What? And, bro, guys, if you just, please. If it's a physical thought and, like, you can, like, just, you know those little ear scraper things? If you could just physically scrape that thought out of your brain, do it. You'll be better for it. I swear to God, you'll be better for it. It's not the end-all, be-all that some people might make it seem, but to say it means nothing is literally the dumbest take in football right now. I cannot stand that take. If a linebacker has a lot of tackles, it means nothing. That's like their You know what? Guys, I'm fasting. I gotta take it easy. I break my fast in like an hour and a half, but I gotta take it easy. I can already feel myself getting lightheaded. So I'm gonna stop myself right there. I know you guys wanted to see me get into it. I can't get into it. It's gonna piss me off. Guys, just scrape it out of your head. Do the little scraper thing. I don't know why I keep doing the motion. I'm a little on the spectrum, maybe. I don't know. But get it out of your head, please. It's the stupidest. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, it's so stupid, man. Just don't say that stupid stuff. Tackling is good, okay? It's good. Yeah. You want a guy that tackles. Yeah. Like, it's not that hard. Like, I don't know. I have no idea where the logic came from. But God, I cannot believe it caught fire like this. It's unbelievable. But back to the point though, Chris Ballard is fantastic at driving linebackers. So that's the thing that gives me solace that this is gonna work out for us. I gave it like an F- grade, the trade immediately, because of how much I hated losing Zaire Franklin. But you can't really grade this move because it's the move in a vacuum looks stupid. It looks silly because it's like you're trading an all-pro linebacker for a backup defensive tackle that's proven nothing in this league. Maybe got younger, but who cares? Not going to start, rotational guy. Player for player doesn't equal value. It makes like very minimal sense. Obviously, the cap makes it more logical, but even then, like, And it's better than just cutting Zaire Franklin because at least you get some talent back, but still you save less money because you brought some talent back. So I don't know what the contract is for Colby Wooden, but you can't judge this trade based off of just this trade. This isn't one of those trades that is like just in a vacuum, right? You have to see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture starts being painted more tomorrow and March 11th. So we'll see what moves that the GM, that Chris Ballard and company are looking to make going forward, and that way we can get a better idea. I'm going to refrain from judging this offseason until like the end of the offseason. I want to see the big picture. Most of what I wanted to do today was remind everyone to calm down because the offseason just started. So let's not panic and overreact to the little things yet. Let's just calm down. Because by the end of the offseason, if the Colts lost Alec Pierce, but they got Trey Hendrickson, and Mooney Ward and Sauce Gardner are our cornerbacks, and they get an all-pro linebacker somehow or something, or whatever, like they get that kid that I was talking about from Kansas City. I can't remember his name. My memory is... Guys, when you're fasting, Ramadan brain just screws with you a lot, so it'd be like that. There was a linebacker on the Chiefs that I've mentioned before. I forget his name. It wasn't Nick Bolton. It wasn't Cochran. It wasn't like Karlaftis. Who was it? It was... Yeah, I forget. I'm not gonna remember it right now. I'm trying to, but I can't remember. I was trying to Google too, but I can't. He's not on the roster anymore, so I can't see it. But anyway, he's a free agent. Look him up. So there's a possibility we bring in some of those guys and stuff, and then maybe we have Daniel Jones at quarterback. Maybe we have Kyler Murray at quarterback. Who knows? Maybe we have Stephon Diggs at wide receiver with Michael Pittman and Josh Downs, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren. Like, there's ways that you could see this roster looking absolutely chef's kiss. It's so beautiful. You're gonna cry to your mother, right? I don't know why. That's not really like a saying or anything, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But maybe you can be really happy. I just think you can be really happy with the roster. Let's just wait and see what it is. Like, just calm down. And enough with the echo chamber. Fire Chris Ballard, because that's not happening right now. So just get over it. With that being said, thank you all for sticking with me for this hour and 15-minute podcast. And I will be back, like I said, with any news. I'm going to try to be more consistent and more constant with this. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll be back on here. So make sure you turn on the notifications. Subscribe, like, comment, share, yada, yada, bang, bye, boom, baba.